It was the birth of his son that pushed Haile FASIL to leave home. Before setting off, he kept telling his wife what he would do once he made it across the Red Sea, how his journey would change their lives, if only he could reach Saudi Arabia. 2 years have passed since his final phone call from Yemen.
How can a man that calls his family every day disappear like this? If he is alive, he would have called us. Some even say he might be dead. But I refuse to believe it. I want to see him alive, take care of him if he's sick, or if I have to bury his body, and finally tell my son the truth about what happened to his father.
Is Faisal alive? And if so, where is he? So many questions left unanswered. This is where they last heard from him, in Yemen's capital Sana'a. Caught in the fighting between Houthi rebels and Saudi Emirati coalition forces are Ethiopian migrants trying to make it to the rich Gulf countries. They have become the unexpected casualties of the war in Yemen. No one knows how many migrants have died, but the UN's migration organization says at least 2,500 have gone missing this year alone.
It goes to show you two things. One, the levels of desperation that force people to migrate, but secondly, how persuasive the people smugglers and human traffickers are in convincing them that this might be a good time to make the journey to Saudi Arabia through Yemen, because nobody's going to stop you.
Ethiopians who've made it back home bear witness to the war in Yemen and the humanitarian crisis there. ABDU was injured after people traffickers forced him to fight on the front line to pay his debt to get to Saudi Arabia.
They asked me to be their soldier, offering this much money. I told them I left my home for work, not to kill people. And so they punished me, locked me underground in chains, and then forced me to fight.
Whether in Yemen or in Libya, conflict is fueling the trade in people trafficking. Armed groups make empty promises to migrants, sometimes to children, such as 13-year-old Ahmed, who escaped from his traffickers after overhearing their plans to sell him.
I know the man who wanted to sell me. The broker who wanted to make $1,000 on me is from my village in Ethiopia.
The UN estimates the booming trade in people smuggling is worth $150 billion a year. For many, the journey starts here in the capital, Addis Ababa, because despite the economic boom and the political freedom this government is offering, many young people will travel days, even months, in search for a new and better life. But at what cost, Faisal wife asks herself. Her family is riddled with guilt that he set off on his journey for them. Faisal's son has a message for his father or for any other planning on following in his footsteps. Come back home. It's not worth it. We want you back, he says. Nicolas, Haque, Al Jazeera, Addis Ababa.